Hi all, we are Watch Jelly, a group of storytellers creating content featuring a diverse group of individuals and their collections. As you see laid out before you, this is a collection of our first guest on our very first episode. So sit back, relax and enjoy. We have Kervin here today. Kervin, who is a very busy man because he owns a business basically, and he has amassed a really interesting and enviable collection in just a span of a few years. And so we're very lucky to have him today. I think Kervin, on a busy Sunday actually, and so he has kindly allowed us to film and ask him some very interesting questions. And thank you, Kervin, for showing up today. And we have such a nice collection, to say the least. And so, Kervin, maybe the first question to kick things off would be, so tell us about your day to day. So we know that you started out as a white collar job in a bank, similar to me, and consequently you have decided to set up your own business. Yeah. And tell us about that. What is your day to day like for everyone who's watching here today?
Right. So, okay, I'm actually in the management and business consulting business. Right. Okay. So what we actually do in the setup, right, is that we help our clients, our corporate clients, minimize their costs, as well as try to maximize their profits. Sure. So that's what we try to do. Okay. Of course, on a day-to-day basis, we tend to start our day pretty early because we have teammates that are overseas. So my typical day starts off at about 7 a.m. Yeah. So I usually kick off with some emails, some calls, and then later on in the day I start having internal meetings. So we meet up with our different internal stakeholders, our teams, discuss on projects and stuff like that. And then, of course, in between such meetings, we will work on our present projects, right, our engagements. Yeah. So, of course, during lunch break, I will try to squeeze in a bit of time for maybe a gym session. Okay, a very short gym session, and then second half of the day will be meetings with clients.
Right.
A lot of meetings with clients, projects again, and then hopefully by 6, maybe by 7 right. p.m. I can call it a day. Yeah.
Right.
So that's a typical day.
So everyone, you see, I think running your own business is tough. I think people always talk about being your own boss, and it's not easy. Making the rest of us look like slouches here, because I start my day at 7:45, which is already very early for most people. And so I know your schedule is practically non-stop. Yep. And so again, I cannot say enough about having you here today, taking up a nice Sunday afternoon to be with us. And so maybe another question that we have for you is, so what is your upbringing like? I think that's something we want to feature here a bit more about as well, which is how has your upbringing sort of shaped some of the choices that you've made in life, your career choices, if you will, where a lot of people we know go for the 9-to-5 route, white collar job. So tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so for myself, I come from a family that's very laissez-faire. My parents, they weren't the controlling type. Okay, so
lucky you.
Yeah, they gave my brother and I quite a bit of freedom,
right,
to do what we want, to choose the path we want to embark on, to pursue our goals. They don't dictate that. So of course, for myself wise, I kind of like studying. So
you like studying?
Yes.
Wow. You see, this is the issue, guys. The Asian thing where parents make us study hard, where academics is really important, that is not a stereotype at all. I mean, there is a stereotype, sorry. It really is a thing. But with him, his parents, give him some leeway to do what they want, pursue what they want, but he likes studying. So guys, continue the Asian joke, so we're fine, no issues. So tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so for myself, I like So I've been studying on and off, but of course I've been working as well. Okay, so I first started out my career in audit and subsequently in banking. So
Right.
I was very much having a white collar job, 9 to 6 kind of thing. Of course, with OT in
Right.
Singapore. Okay, overtime.
Yep.
So I think everybody knows that. So what happened subsequently was that my brother, okay, whom I was pretty close to, okay, got into an accident.
Right.
Yeah, so the accident actually left him paralyzed, okay, and he actually lost mobility
Right.
from his shoulders down.
Right.
So from that point onwards, right, I of course had to, I had more responsibilities.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I had to be a bigger part, you know, in his life, okay, as his caregiver, one of his caregiver, and during that period of time, that got me thinking. At the initial phases of the accident, I thought, you know, maybe, just maybe, I should start out my own thing,
Right.
leave my comfort zone, and then, you know, try to do something that can include him, so
Right.
more inclusive, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. And so that was when I, you know, decided to
Branch out
pursue,
into pursue
yes,
this.
correct.
Yeah, I think that's where the courage really sets in. I think usually something drastic like this happens, and some people may just stick to their comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I can say for most people. But I think it's really commendable, and I truly respect that a lot in terms of at times of difficulty where personal responsibility is more enhanced, and somehow you still found it in you to pursue something that you've wanted to do,
Yep.
and which could have very well been, you know,
Yeah.
not as successful as it is today. So
Right.
I think that's really commendable, and it takes a lot of courage,
Exactly.
which truly I respect. And probably I'm not sure if I have the same gusto or the same sort of you know, sort of spirit to do something like that. So really, I respect that, bro, really a lot. So in terms of so I guess linking all of this into your upbringing and your personality, and if you will, and then how has that branched out into, I guess, the obvious question, which is collecting watches.
Okay.
And at Watch Jelly, you know, I think on top of really profiling you as a person, I think it's also important. And one of the key things that we want to bring here today is talking about some of the collections that you have.
Yeah.
So how has it started out for you? You know.
Okay. Of course, for me wise, my watch collection journey didn't really begin because of, say, work, or
Right.
because of interest in watches per se. Okay, it was actually influenced by a friend of mine. Okay, let's just call him CY.
Sure.
Yeah, so CY was an army mate that I had, or rather have, because, you know, on and off we still do reservice.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe just to give a bit
Yes.
more color. So in Singapore, every able-bodied male citizen must serve 2 years of the military service or in the civil defense as part of national service, basically. So both of us, we sort of serves one specific a part of the army for about 2 years, and CY is a friend of ours, basically. So, and he's behind the camera right now. So CY is the guy, basically, you're saying, that sort of poisoned you into all of this.
Yes, exactly.
And made us our bank accounts a bit thinner as a result. And anyway, and we just have a few pieces of metal to show for it, which is quite interesting. So let's get into that. So how has basically how did he actually start out? Maybe you can tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so we actually see each other quite often.
Right.
At least once every year.
Okay.
During what we call reservice, where the army calls us back
Right.
to conduct some form of training, military training. So during that period of time, he will always come in with new watch pieces.
Right.
Yeah, new watch pieces, and he will showcase them to us. Okay.
And like look at my new watch, that sort of way, or how? I don't think he's like that, right?
No, he's not. So he will, like, you know, bring in a piece, you know, share with us a bit
Sure.
of its heritage,
Right.
share with us in terms of some of the specifications,
Right.
stuff like that.
So what is the first watch that he showed you?
Okay, I wouldn't say
Or
it
caught your attention,
Yes, more of caught my attention because, to be frank, he brought in quite a number of pieces.
Damn.
Quite a number of pieces over the years.
Right.
And sometimes, of course, we see him bringing more than one piece.
Right.
At
one point in
session.
time, yeah,
yes,
right.
exactly.
Wow.
So, but the one that particularly resonated with me, stuck with me for quite a long time, actually up to now,
Right.
is the Rolex Daytona.
Right.
Okay, so actually we have a piece here, lah.
Right, and let me put this in context, guys. So when we show up, about 2 weeks a year after the 2-year military service to do, sort of a remedial training, if you will. So we're wearing our camouflage, in our military boots and everything, and we get down and dirty sometimes. And then you're telling me that this very person brought in a $15,000 US watch into camp.
Yes.
Wow. So that's something I cannot understand. That's crazy. So tell us more. So what do you do?
Yeah, so during that point of time, I couldn't really understand that as well.
Right.
So I was like, why? Why are you bringing in such an expensive piece of contraption, right?
Right.
This watch, to camp when we are getting down and dirty,
Yep.
So the thing about this was, okay, fine, fair enough. Maybe it was interest,
Right.
okay, and but for me wise, it was okay because I was quite open to such things. But I think it was during that time when he showed me the Daytona, that was when it started getting me interested.
Right.
Yeah, it started me thinking about watches, and the specifications, like why because when I first started, I could only differentiate watches like battery run watches.
Digital watches, battery run.
Yes, digital, as well as maybe watches with
An hour and a second hand, basically. The ones that we have here too.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, but of course, he actually shared quite a bit with
Right.
us, and for me wise, I felt that, oh, interesting. Some watches actually run without batteries.
Right.
At that point of time, it didn't really occur to me that those that ran on batteries were quartz watches.
Right.
Yeah, but of course, subsequently, we all know, right?
So basically, what you're also saying is that this was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
And in that short span of time, you went from practically almost little to no knowledge on watches
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really something. So I see. So what was that Daytona specifically? I know I know you've mentioned it's the 116520, right?
Yes,
the
correct.
one?
Yeah. Okay, I don't exactly remember the model.
Right.
Okay, but I would believe that it is the 116520.
Right.
Yeah. So at that point of time, I was saying, oh, this piece very nice.
Right.
Then he was showing me like the flyback, the chronograph.
Right.
I was like, oh, interesting.
And did he try to sell you the watch?
Yes, he did.
How typical, man.
So he did. And at that point of time, I was like, wow. Because personally, I was into investments.
Right.
I was into investments quite early into my career.
Right.
And of course, for me wise, buying a piece of watch would more or less, it would, I had to justify the value.
Right, to take a chunk out of at least
Yes,
15, I think
exactly.
15 grand or so.
Yeah.
To buy just a watch to do this.
Yeah, exactly. So I was quite concerned, of
Right.
course, paying so much money. I was like thinking, oh, maybe taking that money, buying some stocks and shares that I was familiar on.
Which would probably be the more responsible thing to do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it would likely have been.
Yeah, it would have likely have.
Yeah, but of course, after some time, we did see the value of certain
Yes,
pieces
for sure.
rise quite a fair bit. But at that point of time, dishing out that amount of money, that amount of dough for a piece of watch was a no-no. Yeah. So I sort of like harbored, that feeling,
Oh
that
no, you
nagging
want
feeling.
it, but oh no,
Yeah,
they cost this
I
much.
don't- yes.
Maybe I should look at something else. That
Exactly.
sort of mentality, I think. So what was, I guess, the logical segue would be, what would be what was the first piece that you sort of went, okay, I'm willing to
Right.
put some money into that sort of thing that got you started. Yeah.
So of course, subsequently, right, that feeling still
Lingered. It was still.
I could feel that every time I see CY, right, I was
Right.
like, oh, that Daytona,
Yo.
the Daytona guy.
That just sucks.
Yeah. So of course, subsequently, right, when I saved enough,
Right.
one fine day I decided, hey, look, maybe it's time to get a watch.
Right.
Maybe getting a piece would kill that feeling, or
Right.
rather suppress that feeling.
Or so one would think. And so what happened?
Yeah, so I went online, I searched a bit, and then I found this piece. So
Right.
this piece itself is Omega Seamaster.
Right.
Okay, it's quite a vintage piece.
Okay.
Okay, it's actually 1993, made
Okay.
in 1993. And okay, actually why I got this piece was partly also influenced by CY, because he used to bring a lot of vintage pieces.
Right. Talking to you about the history,
Yes.
saying why this has that warmth and glow to it, right? With
Correct.
most vintage pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, oh look, maybe for the first piece wise, I wanted to get something manageable,
Right.
in terms of cost, and something that has more vintage. Yeah. So I actually chanced upon the Omega Seamaster,
Right.
2296.80.
Sure. And tell us specifically, more of what appealed to you in terms of getting this piece.
Yeah, so this piece wise, I did quite a bit of research before I bought it.
Right.
Okay. It is actually a titanium Seamaster.
Right.
Not a lot of people enjoy the Seamaster with chronograph, because some folks, they find it a bit messy,
Right.
because it comes with chronograph as well as all
The time and day and
Yes.
all that. So
Yeah.
and also I think when did you purchase this piece? Which year did you?
So I would think offhand I bought it at around 2017.
2017, which is fairly recent still.
Yes.
And
it
I
was.
read that this piece has basically it's tritone, right? It's tritone.
Yes.
Three metals as well.
Correct.
So-
So yeah, for this piece wise, it actually came in rose gold.
Right.
But as you can see, right, since 1993, it has aged quite a
Aged.
bit.
Let me
There's
take a look
some
at
oxidization here and
Right.
there. So you can see that there's this. It doesn't really look rose gold now,
that. Right.
but
It's-
you can still see a tinge of
Right.
the color still, emitting from it.
Correct. So basically, what you're saying is that probably in the 10+ years ago, and versus where how it has aged now,
Yes.
the color has definitely aged
Yep.
a little bit, and instead of normally when yellow gold ages, it sort of ages into a sort of a rose gold type
Yes.
of vibe. But this came in rose gold.
Yeah.
So it. I guess it's showing a bit of a bronzy type
Yes,
of
yes,
hue,
yes.
right? If you will.
Correct.
Wow, it's a really nice piece. And I guess at that point in time when you purchased this, it was still something that was in the price range, was still acceptable to you.
Yes.
Right.
So I bought it. Okay, so for this piece wise, right? I went down with another friend.
Right.
Let's just call him XL.
Okay.
XL is another Avid watch collector.
Right.
We went down together, and of course I was considering once again,
Right.
doing my math and all that,
Right.
trying to figure out, whether it will be a worthwhile investment.
Yes.
But him being another Avid watch collector, he was like, just buy it. So
I think in the watch world we have to say that just buy. Happens to be one of the most commonly said things. As long as you like it, just buy. Oh, that.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
oh
is.
gosh, I think we've all fallen victim to that phrase. Just buy.
yeah.
Cool. So after this few years that you've owned it, how does it make you feel now today owning this piece?
Okay, for the first year when I owned it, right, it actually got me thinking quite a bit, because during the first year, right, what actually happened was this piece is actually quite old. Okay,
Right.
and the previous owner did not really take care of the crown. So what happened for this piece was that the crown, the threads within the crown, they were actually burnt.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
so what happened was we couldn't screw the crown in after some time.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you can't screw it in, then it's not waterproof. You can't
Right.
really bring it out. So I had to bring it for servicing, and that cost me quite the bomb, because for Megas in Singapore, after a set number of years, right, they will not do the servicing in Singapore itself.
Right, and not to mention it's a chronograph.
Yeah.
So with that additional complication,
Exactly.
the servicing cost naturally is a lot higher compared
Yeah.
to just a time and date watch.
Exactly.
I see.
So the servicing itself cost me as much as a new piece.
So as much as you love the piece, I think
Yes.
it still cost you, or basically it made you feel like, we did this watch, it still cost you some money to service, and I guess that didn't stop the urge, right? The hunger to own another
Yes.
piece. It didn't really quell the inner hunger for your watches.
Yeah, surprisingly, it did not. So, of course, after getting this piece, right, that Daytona thing
Still came back.
to
That
me.
bloody CY, right? That
Yes.
guy. Oh no. So I guess what is the next piece that you got right after this then?
Okay, so ironically, right, for me, the next piece that I put my interest on,
Right.
it wasn't exactly the piece that I got.
Okay.
So immediately after this, right, I was like, hey, look, that Daytona feeling is not going away. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Daytona.
Right.
So for myself, wise, I went online, searched a bit, and then I found this.
Oh, specifically the chocolate Daytona
Yes,
that we have here. Okay.
correct. But at that point of time, it wasn't readily available as well.
Right.
So I placed my interest for this,
At the authorized dealer.
yes, at one of the authorized dealer,
Right.
and then I waited.
Okay.
So I waited for quite a while actually.
Understood.
And when I was waiting, I happened to had the chance to buy, or rather, I was given a
Offered.
chance. Yes.
So guys,
offered.
for those of you who are not very familiar with buying very difficult to get watches, it's like being friend zoned by a girl. You will wait for her reply and it will probably never come. So that is the feeling, the closest feeling socially that I can draw upon. So
Yeah.
basically it's sort of like, they read your reply, but you're just waiting, they're taking days, sometimes if not weeks to reply you.
Yes.
And basically and whether you get called or not depends on whether you ultimately got friend zoned or not. Understood that. Okay, so basically you're saying that the piece that was offered to you was this Submariner here.
Yes.
So
This Submariner, right? This Submariner with date, it was the second piece of watch that I actually
acquired
purchased.
basically, I see.
Yes. I was lucky, of course, once again, to have the chance to buy it.
Right.
Okay. And for me wise, I was thinking, oh look, maybe I've waited for the Daytona for too long.
Right.
So, having the urge, right, I was
Right.
thinking maybe let's just settle for a Sub-C.
Right.
Okay. So that was when I purchased this 116610.
Right, which happens to be the first Submariner with a ceramic bezel.
Exactly.
Right, and this one you got it 2018?
Yes, thereabout. So I bought it at about 2018.
So
Yeah.
so how does this? How do you wear this piece? Sort of in your daily wear. How do you use it? How do you put it? When do you? Under what type of occasion do you put this on?
So I really love this piece because it is very versatile.
Right.
Okay. It is simple, but yet I can wear it for multiple occasions.
Right.
I can wear it for work. I can, wear it when I'm even, exercising. It's
let's see it on your wrist. Let's see it on your wrist. Exercising. Wow. Yes, but that is actually not wrong because the whole idea of a Submariner, right where it was launched many years ago in the 50s,
Yes.
was a tool watch. So back then, you could wear it, hit it, bang it on the table, and all that. Back then, it was the whole DNA of the watch was to wear it without giving a care in the world and just hitting it as and when.
Yeah.
But today, I suppose, once it got into the luxury watch category, people are a bit more mindful. People are a bit more fearful, if you will, about scratching the watch, diminishing its value because it's often seen as an investment piece.
Yes.
So, do you really wear it when you work out in the gym?
Okay, I don't wear it when I work out in the gym,
Right.
but I have worn it on a couple of occasions when I was doing my jogs.
Wow.
Jogging. Because I didn't really have time to remove it and store it properly, so I didn't want to just leave it lying around on my desk.
A full stainless steel watch, did it affect your timing by a minute?
Okay, to be fair, right, it was quite heavy
Right.
compared to the titanium piece.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, definitely you can tell that it's a world of difference when you put it on.
Right.
But this felt a bit more comfortable compared to my Seamaster.
For sure. The
Yeah.
legendary Rolex Oyster
Yes.
bracelet, it's
Correct.
practically unbeatable,
Yeah.
really at the price point.